Sup, yo? Universal Architects, straight from the underground. Being the pilot, steerman of the spacecraft Enterprise. So, how to navigate through this realm and how to speak with analogies in a scientific way. Funny enough, the end result is actually the same thing, because we could straight jump from process A without going through B, C, D, E, F to G. And that's basically the G code. Now, what am I talking about? The honeycombs and divine being, sharing your thoughts, and now your thoughts are all over the place, and you're like, what is going on here? Well, if you know, like, hey, you wearing watches, you emit time, so you're the source. So that's not about you're wearing this, you're wearing that. Well, I don't care what I wear, because it's about, in the first place, about the information. So that's straight shared from the heart. And if your nervous system, if your body is strong enough to share that, speak openly about that. Go out, no matter where. Because basically, and that's what I know and feel, because I'm in tune with myself, because of all the practices and all the training that I was going through from my birthing in this realm, from my birthing being here. 27 years, I know I have been to the darkest places of myself. So I now speak my mind. Everybody is a worker bee. You're like, oh Jan, you're the king bee? Nah, I'm the shaman bee. And the shaman bee is like, hey, I have been to the higher altitude, to the higher attitude, but I still work my ass off here in the society. And it's like, oh, you're wearing these watches and whatever. Well, I know where I come from. This is not about, this family or that family or whatever. I know where my origin is. It's like, you talking about any gods up there? Yeah, I'm talking about the universal constructors, which are you, if you know that. If you know that you are divine and you construct this whole honeycomb system just through being you. And the quest might be, well, then why not be yourself and create a beautiful universe for yourself? Well, why should I not open up my mouth and speak something into this freaking device here? So just, even if you think my thoughts will go into nothingness. Basically, nothingness is where you start to construct. If you fall down, you fall into blackness, you fall into source. See, that's what I'm talking about. Honeycomb means if you've fallen into yourself through purging, breaking, you are breaking your pot, which you are naturally drinking out. So I'm like Edward with the scissor hands. I've tried to fix my mind, and basically I'm cutting through all these pieces. But I know, let me tell you, I know. It's like, Shivamukhapa's poison. Well, yes and no. All the shit that's going on is poison. Well, yes and no. Why? Fasting is poison. Feasting is poison. So everything becomes a fucking poison. So now, what is basically the poisonous thing is, it's our mind space. And it's the non-ability to share yourself with the world, because you're in a fear mode. You're like, you know what? And see, that's also what the honeycomb is about. And it's not, it is that you live in a bubble. Definitely. But the question is, are you strong enough to share your bubble? Well, if you don't know yourself, you're just on these outer shells and you're like, I tell you to do this product, and I tell you to do that. You know what I tell you? I tell you I would piss in your fucking face. And why am I saying that? Because it might be the truth. It is the truth for a fact. For a fact. And there's no product that I'm sharing. The product. I'm not a product. I'm not a product because I'm a producer. You get it? Stop consuming all your shits and fast and drink your piss, and so you start to know. Do it. And it's like, oh, I do all these medications and I'm having unhealthy food. I would do it straight. How do you call it in Indian native Indian original people Americas? A quarter, a pounder. I would eat that shit, French fries, and still drink my piss afterwards. Why? Because as a bee, you know how to fly. Strong, huh? But also crazy. Now, Jan, why are you playing this shaman? Why are you destroying your life? Why you put almost so much more black onto you? Well, if you know you're divine, if you know you are source, and I'm not telling you that from a standpoint of, well, I'm better than you, and you're looking up to myself. Well, that's also kind of true because we're all lighthouses which basically grow in themselves. And, this is why I use all these analogies. You're like, oh, that's not scientific what you're saying, Jan. Well, like I said, I flipped the coin from side A to side B. In between all these processes, you say I was not doing them, although I probably just overwritten them because I was like, okay, why don't accelerate the whole thing? And they said, hey, but we have to do all these mini steps. Yeah, maybe. But maybe it's Mikey, if you get that one. World Disney is a show. This whole thing is a show. So if you know you're the showman, how would you navigate this thing? And I navigate that through, hey, you know what? I give you your power back. If I give you your power back, which is if you know how your avatar is functioning, if you know how your brain is functioning better, sun gazing, Shivamukalpa, urine therapy. You don't need watches because you emit time. If you learn that, then you can go back into time. But you're not there yet. Let me tell you that you're not there yet. Not to be arrogant, but you are not there yet. So, Shivamukalpa, urine therapy, sun gazing, fasting, and feasting, which basically results in chaos magic. And this also then results in black magic and white magic, and then also basically in the rainbow magical form, which gets into unicorns and aliens and what are you telling? Well, I was giving you the techniques. I was giving you the tools. Are you using them or not? Well, that's on you. See, like, oh, you're out in the dark, and you're like, well, what are you even doing? Well, see, I operate from the dark, but I've been to the most highest altitudes. Take a look into my 5G more room videos, whatever. I've been to these highest altitudes, and still in the lower aspects, the melanated aspects, the darker aspects of the soul, I still keep on scratching the music and the vinyl and the dark thing, yo. So, and then you're like, oh, Jan, your thoughts are all over the place. Good. It's like, Jan, your voice does not matter. Good. You know what? I was like, Jan, on that position, you can't say these words. Fuck it. Why? Because, literally, you are not allowed to do so. Yeah, but I was facing my darker aspect. I was facing my fear. It's like, yeah, you have to wait. You have to still continue. You have to still be humble. Be humble. Wait for something. For what should I wait? For what? If I know certain things, I mirror them out. And so should you. Because this is basically how you and we would develop the honeycomb system. The honeycomb system is not about, maybe it then goes into complete opposite direction. I'm like, okay, I fucked it all up. But see, this is how people then use it. People are then like, I would like to have more money. I would like to have more this. I would like to have more that. And this is why I'm speaking about the Academy of Wizards. Knowledge is king. And I would put something about that one. Knowledge is being Pharaoh. Period. Because you control everything through mind. Nobody can take that away from you. And everything else is just, if you get to the quantum realm, these forces exist. These forces will do that. These forces will do this. You know what? In the first place, this whole thing is a giant show. It's a show. The quest is, how do you decide? Now, so, knowing that, there are probably 99.9% bots. People are not real. People don't even know shit about themselves because they're here. But you know where I am? I'm so deep into my fucking school that I know 3,333% of what I am talking about. Period. And you be like, you say that all on camera on the iPhone or iPhone. It's like you use a Ubuntu Linux system. Yeah, that might be better. That might be better. And you know what? In the end, I could use a Linux system. It will become more secure. But basically, what it is about what is happening in reality. If you know how reality works, but it's just basically already geometric patterns are happening around you. The matrix grid, the honeycombs are basically all around you. What you see is representations of your own mind frame, depending on your depth of how deep you've been into yourself, and then it starts basically to mirror out. This is how you navigate through this realm. If you start to know that, it really does not fucking matter what kind of program you are using. It doesn't matter. Because you could use whatever. You could use the windows of your soul. You could eat an apple from the tree. Or you could light a nux out of your box. And still, all these systems are basically secondary to the primary source operator, which is you. Right? So this is why universe in a nutshell, it's about your freaking skull. It's about your freaking school. And I packed so much information around these fairy tales that I was speaking because that's how it works. Still, all these scientists came up and be like, well, where is the proof for this? Where's the proof for that? Why do you say this? Why do you say that? In the end, I can tell you, it is all already in your mind. Either leave it there or share it. From my point of view, if we would like to move closer into the direction of freedom and security for everybody, share your fucking mind. Even if you make mistakes, be strong enough to be like, you know what, that was me. It was me yesterday. That's me tomorrow. That was myself 3 years ago. And I still have the balls to show that. And people are like, yeah, the internet never forgets. The internet never does this. The internet always does that. If something's on the internet, it will always stay there. Well, then make advantage about this and change this show for an empowerment and betterment of everybody, which seems to me right here, right now, a honeycomb system where, like in a Pixar movie, everybody lives in their honeycomb, and if you would like to melt with another mind, you can break the boundary and then fly to another universe and be like, hey, I check out your universe. I think you have some great ideas. Let's share them. Let's interact. Let's fuse. And this is basically how this whole thing spirals up. And it can spiral down, it can spiral left and right and north, south, west and east. Guess what? Because you are the pole star. And if you know that, you start to remember who you actually are. You are by yourself a star system, a universe, a galaxy. Master of the universe, right? Straight out of Compton. Where do you know all that from, Jan? Where is your reliable source? Where can I read this? Where can I read that? Well, you ever heard about magic and wizards? I told you why the magician is way more powerful than the warrior, because the magician is not worrying. I don't worry. What should I worry about? What? My nervous system, I know I never go anywhere. I never move. Because only basically, if you get to that perception, only the freaking things in front of you change. That's the only thing that change. So, it's about, what do you know? What do you share? So, that's it. I'm sharing techniques. I'm sharing my mind to get myself in the direction of where I would like to go. Well, Jan, you can keep your thoughts to yourself. Yes and no. And I'll tell you why. I'm going to repeat myself, but I'm going to tell you exactly why you should share yourself open sourced. In an open source honeycomb system where everybody is participating in and navigating with each other through this realm, you have to become your true self. Well, Jan, not everything that you are saying is the ultimate truth. I agree with you on that. Well, Jan, all the tools that you give us are only a selection. True. So I'm telling you, bring up your own tools. Bring up your own mistakes. Bring up your own self. Show yourself to the world. What should happen? Yeah, Jan, I will fall. But let me tell you a goosebump truth. I know you only see my watch and you're like, Jan, you're a fucking pro. No. Show you. I showed you already. Fridays for future. Actually, we have Thursday? Yeah, still Thursday. I'm thirsty. Thursdays for empowerment. Thursdays for magic. How about that? And like, oh yeah, and you're just another guy talking shit into the camera. No, I'm manifesting the future. Because I know how the freaking thing works. Put up and add yourself like an add-on. That's the only thing that I'm doing. Add-ons are shaped in a honeycomb format. So if you would share yourself like in a honeycomb with others, you would start to become a star, and you would start to basically become a pilot. And you're like, Jan, this looks very Russian. Are you like are you from there? I'm not from a specific country, because like in a honeycomb you have specific fractals, specific boundaries, which then melt because we live in a geometric patterned universe. And that's what wizardry is. So, because the real thing, the real communication is nothingness, is thought. It has something to do with melanin, has something to do with substantia nigra, your brain patterns, alchemy, hermeticism, Smaitawi, Kemetic yoga, sun gazing, piss drinking. Strange, huh? It's like, yeah, and why don't you advertise? Because I don't advertise anything. Well, I could name to you certain products which might be beneficial to you to do something, and then I immediately ask myself, okay, why? Yeah, it should be fun, and I have, believe me, I'm having fun here. But at the same time, I know it's about information. Get me right, information. And melt down your honeycomb to inspire yourself and the world and everybody around you. Construct your own honeycomb. And get deep into your honeycomb so you can add on the others. And then you start to see that basically what is really happening here. What is really going on. Because what is really going on, if you get to the higher insight, a higher state of spirituality, a higher state of consciousness, you would start to realize that everything is basically imagination or magic, and everything would happen in this type of manifestation. Because the real science is in front of you. The real science is your head space, your mind space. And sure, universities are great, don't get me wrong. Academies are great, everything is great that we've developed. The question is, how much can you take? And what can you bring basically then back from doing all these things? You can also keep it to yourself if that's beneficial to you. If I seem to like to share myself, but I stress it one more time, share yourself to empower, share yourself to make the world a better place. Now the world is, like I said, the skull. So if you've went to school, I cannot tell you. Because basically, you're only going to school when you were using your skull. And the thing which sits behind the skull, it's called your brain. Now, if you go deeper in there, there's something which might be called substantia nigra, melanin, your third eye. And how you basically construct through this. And if I do these shaky videos, like all these influencers, or maybe, I'm having the flu, I'm having the crown, like, oh, you're doing all the crown shit, yeah. Well, yes and no. I mean, if you are too stupid, because I was giving you, like, only in this video, I was giving you the solution which sits in you, maybe 10 times, I don't know. Say it one more time. Oh yeah, urine. Shivamukapa. It's like, oh, that's poison, Jan. It seems to be an alchemical solution for whatever. So, in these humble words, I mean, inspire the world. If you cannot do that, probably sounds rude, but go fuck yourself, because I love you. Make it a bit more demonic happening, and also angelish, like universal galactic shaman, timekeepers and emitters. So I love you, stay true, and keep on flying, all you beautiful bees being out there. I'm a bee, I'm Shaman Bee. Done.